Hello. I've done some videos on how to get into sim racing on the cheap. I've even recommended some products, and today I'm going to test out one of those products, which will be the venerated Logitech G25. When it came out, the Logitech G25 was kind of a game changer. For the price it offered, it was around £300 or thereabouts, maybe $300 when it was new. It offered pretty much a whole complete set. It will give you the steering wheel, it would give you the pedals, and it would give you also a shifter, a 6-speed shifter with a sequential. The Logitech G25 was even compatible with the consoles, namely the PlayStation 2 and the PlayStation 3. I've owned one about 10 years ago or so, and it was a wheel that I still remember very fondly. My friend Vitor asked me if I wanted to try this steering wheel, and I said, yeah, why not? It will be very interesting to try in a 2020 context when after this wheel you'd had the Logitech G27, which is still very much used, the Logitech G29, which was a complete hit, and also the new Logitech G923. It will be interesting to see how much the Logitech G platform has evolved. While the G25 has some important differences from their older brethren, starting of course by the symbol, which is the old Logitech symbol, there are also a lot of similarities. Let's start for what is different. The wheel is completely different in design. It's a 3-spoke design, much like the new ones, but without the driving force GT inspired centers. The high quality leather rim actually has stood up to time very well. It feels in very good condition. It only has 2 buttons, but it does feel far more sporty than the new ones. As for this particular unit, the shifter, this left shifter, sometimes it misbehaves. The right shifter is much better, but of course that can be corrected by either doing proper maintenance or using something like a magnetic shifter, something that we'll be testing in the future. I mentioned a lot of things in my reviews of the G29 and G923. One of the things that I mentioned is that the rear portion of this steering wheel is exactly the same as it is now. So Logitech applies the logic, if it's not broken, don't fix it. This is exactly what I mean. It's exactly the same form. Nothing changed besides, of course, the logo over here. And if we check out the meat and potatoes, the inside part where the cables are routed, guys, this hasn't changed in 16 years. Look at this, the same pedal set from the G923, G29, it's here. This is where it all started. And for good reason, Logitech hasn't changed it. It's more or less reliable, it's robust, and this unit, it lasted over a decade, so it means it is good. In terms of rates though, the springs are different. The throttle spring seems lighter than normal. The clutch spring is more or less the same rate, and the brake rubber, it's more or less the same thing, a little bit changed over the course of the years. I think the new ones are better in that regard. Same overall design at the rear, the 6 mounting holes that you can use, I believe M6s, and the carpet holder over here that you can deploy by using that clip. So overall, nothing much changed. Logitech did the small improvements on the inside of this space to give a better experience to their users. For things that have completely changed from the times of the G25, here you have it. The shifter, it has changed because the new packages don't come with a shifter, and when you buy it separately, you do not get a sequential. This shifter was revolutionary for me. So it gives you the 6-speed plus a reverse, and if you press it down, you could actually put it on sequential. Pretty nice. You get a good sequential feel. I think the spring is a bit too light, but once again, there's a market which allows you to get, springs for this. I think this design is very nice. Now, in terms of buttons, of course, these buttons are now part of the G29 wheel, so you got the D-pad in the wheel itself. As a user, I much prefer it like it is now. This was, I remember, very difficult to run on, especially you don't have an handbrake, and when I use this on Gran Turismo 5, you'd have to go sideways and find the correct button. Of course, if you have it on the wheel, it's far easier. Lots of things have been upgraded over the time, but in my opinion, because it lacks the sequential shifter, I think Logitech downgraded their shifter, but I believe not a lot of people would be using this type of sequential shifter when you have, up and down paddles. So I kind of understand them, but you have to be frank, this is a downgrade. Drivers wise, we need to go to memory lane to download the Logitech Profiler. It's very easy to find, but apparently it works quite well. One thing that I discovered though is that the left pedal isn't properly declicking, but we can fix that maybe later on with another piece of hardware that I'll be reviewing. Trying it out in Project Cars 2, you can definitely see that this is an older wheel, an older kit, and that Logitech has definitely come a long way since launching it. You can definitely feel the cogginess of the wheel. It is still a good wheel. You can feel all the effects going over the curbs and whatnot, but you do feel that Logitech has evolved quite a lot. But importantly, this wheel doesn't leave a lot out in terms of experience from what the G923 is giving. The 923 gives you a more delicate force feedback, considering where this type of wheel is, or what this type of wheel is. It definitely improved, the 923 definitely improved on the braking part, because this rubber definitely needs an upgrade and a refresh. Even the throttle pedal is too soft for my liking. The 923 had a better one, and even a G29 it was a little bit better. But this is a familiar piece of kit that basically takes no prisoners on its approach. It's very straightforward and does that straightforwardness very well. It feels quite nice in Project Cars 2, all things considered, and I suppose that you could be very fast with it. It's been a while that I've driven in Miyogi, but I've never driven in this specific mod. I've driven in another one. This one is a little bit different. It's better. It's one from Tokyo Union, I believe. The use case, very likely the use case for the Logitech G25 nowadays will be, doing Assetto Corsa. Assetto Corsa is a very popular game for good reason, because of the moddability. I know from my community, you'd see a lot of people trying to get by, and they still want to get into sim racing, and they want to get something affordable. They keep asking about this specific wheel. I keep recommending it, but it's a shame if I don't try it and I don't do my analysis. Now, the Logitech G25, I believe, is the spiciest of the Logitech G wheels in terms of force feedback strength. Most of them, they deliver, I think, 2.5. This one is 20% higher at about 2.9, if I'm not mistaken, or they're basically exactly the same. It's like not 0.4 is going to do a massive difference, all things considered, even if that difference exists. But in terms of experience of what you get here at Assetto Corsa with, the Assetto Corsa, with the Assetto Corsa force feedback, yeah, it's okay. I can feel the locked tires in the front. The wheel releases a slight bit, but mainly it's, I guess, muddled. Oh, the lift off oversteer, I did feel it very well. The wheel released and then gripped. Pretty nice. The shifter could be, from stock could be improved. It feels very light. It was one of my complaints when I had it. But generally, you know what? It's not bad. All things considered, of the price, you should be getting these things, 70, 50, sometimes more expensive, 130. You really need to search for these. I know we'll be saying, oh, random, I can only find it for X. It really, it's going to depend on where you live, and if you live in the United States or United Kingdom or, in Europe, you can probably get it for cheaper, and I always recommend for you to bargain hunt. Even if it take you a while, you can get one of these things. Not disappointed at all, man. I think this wheel has held up remarkably well for a 2006 wheel, USB 2, PS2 and PS3 compatible. Oh my god. You know, you could feel it. You could feel all of that. I need to get myself reacquainted with Miyogi. It's such a nice track. This is also a very nice mod car with the typical AP1 lift-off oversteer. Ooh, there he goes. Man, what? Yeah, this is nice. It's actually pretty nice. You can feel like the car saying, oh, you shouldn't do this. And this is the end. Pretty nice. Going down memory lane with the Logitech G25 is really interesting. This is basically the wheel that changed sim racing, in my opinion. It held up surprisingly well, probably better than I was expecting, because I've been, you know, my memory is probably muddled with better wheels. You can be fast with this. It's not the fastest wheel that will turn around and whatnot, but you can definitely be fast with this and you can have a good time. But having said that, guys, you have to remember, if you get this on second hand, even if it's at a good price, it's very likely that you can get a lemon. So make sure that all the things that will be coming in the package either work or are well maintained, or otherwise you'd risk having a museum piece or just some very expensive paperweight, in my opinion. Regardless, if you have some and some parts break, because they do, this one for example, stop it, this one sometimes the downshift, you know, yes, sometimes the downshift hangs up, it sticks. You could probably get parts for it, or maybe get something like from 3D Wrap, where you get the magnetic shifter pedals, and of course the shifters will go back with no problem whatsoever. For about 50 to 130 pounds, depending on conditions, depending on what you get, I think this is an amazing wheel for a beginner wheel, or if you want to go to sim racing on the cheap. So that's it, guys. A big thank you to my friend Vitor for lending me this wheel for review. Also a big thank you for all of you that allowed this channel to be possible. If you would like to see more of these videos, don't forget to leave a like, consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you'll see new videos and streams as they come out. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.